Hi everyone, this is Georgia from iMore again, and this is our weekly show about iPhones and iPads from news and reviews to health and how-tos. This is iPhone and iPad Live. It's March 28th, 2012, and joining me tonight is the co-host of Iterate and the CIO of Nickelfish, always on time, Mr. Seth Clifford.
Hello, Georgia.
Hello, Seth. It seems so much more right this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I break stuff. This is why we can't have nice things.
You are the reason why we can't have nice podcasts.
Yeah.
Also joining me is the editor-in-chief of iMore, Mr. Rene.
This feels odd, Georgia, like someone reset the Matrix, like I'm watching the black cat walk by again. It's almost like we did the intro of the show, someone else showed up, and everything just restarted from the beginning.
Well, that being said, restarting everything from the beginning, I would like to say hello to our fabulous live chat room.
Hello, chat room. You guys rock.
They do. I love the chat room. That's like the best part.
Yep. Agreed.
Thank you, Brad.
How you doing tonight, chat room? You're doing well?
Well, we have a lot of iPad news, so let's get to it. We started off with your magnificent, I'm not going to say superfluous the second time around.
Nice.
2012 review of the new iPad.
And again, it was a team effort. Georgia did some of the tests. Leanna did some of the tests. Ali did some of the tests. We put it all together. The high line for me was it's not thinner, it's not lighter, it's not perceptibly faster. Indeed, the new iPad sacrifices all of those things in the pursuit of one ferocious goal, to be better. So ultimately, we kind of said that it's an iPad of firsts. If you're a first-time tablet buyer, if you have a first-generation iPad, or if you are a first adopter or has to have the latest thing all the time, then you're going to want this. But if you don't care about Retina or LTE, it's not a compelling upgrade.
That is pretty much it. We also did the round table, which was really nice, actually. I enjoyed having everyone pipe in their own thoughts, feelings, how much better their own tablets from their sites are than the iPad.
It was really like a lot of different opinions. Kevin Michaluk did say that. He also registered crappad.com to point out our review, but I don't want to get into that right now.
Right. So what would be the tablet that he thought was better? Was it Play something?
Oh, let's accentuate the positive. We got awesome reviews from Seth Clifford, from Georgia, from Mark Edwards, from Mickey Papillon. I mean, they all had different points, some good, some bad, but I think it was really good to present the different views.
I think that it was nice. It was nice to see everyone's different ideas on that. And do you want me to read out mine?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. The Retina display on the new iPad is absolutely stunning. Most of the time, it doesn't really make a huge difference to me, though it is beautiful. I am the type of person that will end up watching a lower quality video just so that I can see it faster. And I would have much preferred a new iPad that had the same screen, but was double the speed. Plus better speakers, native clock, and full Siri support. If I wasn't a blogger, actually, I would have probably returned it. Go ahead, flame on. Send all your flames to Seth.
No, that's totally fair. I don't think anyone should flame you for that.
Well, again, I have the iPad too, and if I had the iPad 1, this would have been an amazing upgrade.
Or no iPad.
Well worth it. Or no, of course, no iPad. I don't think that even those others in the round table were honest about saying that, any other tablet can truly, unless you're just going to use it for e-reading, maybe a Kindle.
If you have very specific niche needs, if you need something that the iPad won't do.
Some people mentioned
like run Air apps.
LTE is a big difference for it, so I can kind of go there.
What was your take, Seth? What was your summation?
Of the different reviews?
No, of yours. What was your takeaway?
Oh, well, my impressions are very good, obviously, because I'm coming from a first-gen iPad. So
I want to hear the best line in any of the reviews we ran.
All right. Well, in thinking about it, and it came to me as I was writing my review, going from an iPad 1 to the new iPad, the iPad 3, is like standing in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon as it makes the jump to hyperspace.
Damn.
Give me the quote. Give me the quote.
That is nice, Seth.
Loading web pages fast ain't like dusting crops, boy.
Nice. Seth wins at reviews.
Damn.
I love it. I really
That
do. I
was
was talking to
nice. That
Rene
was nice,
earlier
Seth.
today and just telling him how happy I am not only to have an iPad back in my like daily flow, but like to have this one. I am using it across the board, like taking it around the office, taking notes, doing stuff, like marking up images and sending them to people. Like I am all in, and I'm absolutely loving this one.
Daddy's come back to port, and the lady was there to greet him.
That's right.
Yeah, and so read that
So-
whole thing because it was. I mean, there were a lot of really good views there.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see everyone else's answers, and then watching people. Then the comments after like were hilarious. Watching people flame all of us for various different reasons about our feelings on.
If people aren't flaming you, then
iPad.
you're not saying anything important.
Well, you're not saying something that is, again, if you want to stay mid-road. The funniest part is that I thought that I would get more, like a lot of people were, when I said I would not upgrade from iPad 2 to the iPad 3, I didn't think it was a $700 worth upgrade. And I'd expected people to be rip-roaring mad about that. I got a lot of support on this and saying, thank you for your honesty. Whereas when I didn't upgrade to 5.1 on my OS, people were infuriated. Yet for the iPad, they're all like, yeah, I like that. Thanks for your honesty.
5.1 didn't cost $700 in all fairness.
I have no clue why. I don't know what the actual difference between that is, but people were, one caused fury, one did not.
The thing I was really excited about, can you guess what it was, Georgia?
Dictation?
No, the community report card. So something we knew we did this year.
And okay, well, what grade did it get?
Well, so we wanted to get like not just our reviews, not just the staff reviews. We wanted to get the iMore Nation's take on it, and we found out which iPad they got. 63% went black, 25% went 16 gigabytes, 35% went 32 gigabytes. I was surprised by this. 39% went 64 gigabytes. They went big. They did not go Kindle. Wi-Fi 50%, Verizon LTE 20%, AT&T/Canadian LTE 20%. International HSPA Plus, don't call it 4G, you'll get crawled into court, 10%. And we have a mostly US audience, and it was mostly a US launch. So they were happy. 28% almost perfect, 22% better than expected, 34% exactly as expected, 11% worse than expected, 4% terrible. So that's 96% of members are happy with their new iPad.
Almost perfect.
Yeah.
How can that be?
Oh,
Almost perfect.
There's not much else you can do with it. It's a tablet. I mean, until someone radicalizes it.
That's like those are okay. I'm going to say something. I'm sorry, but those are people with no inspiration for better.
They're just happy. They're happy with now. They'll be happy next time, but they're happy now.
Fully full.
Yes. And it's full of scotch.
I should not be jaded.
What? I'm sorry, what?
There are people whose glass is fully full and it's full of scotch.
I was daydreaming and then I heard you talk about scotch.
Beverages.
Right.
And we posted some different, I'm not going to read them all out because a lot of them, but we posted reviews from the forum from the first day and from a week later to see if it held up. And we'll have all of these in the show notes. If you go to imore.com/podcast, you can find our review, the Mobile Nations Roundtable, and the community report card. And I think together they paint a really good picture of what the iPad 3 is and who it's ideal for.
Right. And we also had a whole bunch of, should I call them scoops?
Sure.
What do you want to call it? Breaking news.
Break-exclusive.
Break-exclusives. That's a horrible thing. And posted in a lot of reposts on this. So we have, on good authority, what the iPhone 5 is going to be coming out with. Can you break a little bit more out to, the podcast?
So this is for iPhone 5.1, the next generation iPhone. Could be iPhone 5. It could just be called the new iPhone. We don't know anymore. We've heard previously that it was going to have a micro dock, that space was a premium inside the device. Apple does not want to make bigger devices, so they're going to try and, the same way they reduced the SIM card from mini SIM to micro SIM, they're going to reduce the 30-pin dock connector down to a micro dock. We also heard that as of last month, they're sticking to the same size screen, 3.5. That's not quote unquote set in stone. They might go a little bit bigger, but they won't go anywhere near the 4.5-inch plus sized Android phones. It would destroy the whole point of a Retina display, and Apple is not leaving Retina displays anytime soon. We heard it's going to have 4G LTE, hopefully with the new chip. We didn't actually hear this, but hopefully it will have it with the new chipset. That'll reduce power consumption and the size of battery needed. And we also heard that, once again, it will be launching in the fall, most likely in October.
Whew, October. That is a long way away. It's the saddest part of the entire thing. So really, October?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a year, right? If they released it in the summer, it'd only be 9 months, and I don't know if people are used to upgrade. If Apple made so much money with the iPhone 4, keeping it on the market for 15, 16 months, I don't think they would prematurely cut off, something that they're making more and more money on as the manufacturing cycle continues to ramp up.
Well, we shall see.
Do you guys care if the screen gets bigger or not?
I would like it a little bit bigger, just
define little, sir.
Well, we've heard that it could go up to 3.75 and still basically keep the same general dimensions to keep apps where they need to be
and keep its retina flag intact.
Yeah, I think a little bump would be great. I know we're not going to get 4 inches. I don't want anything beyond that. I think a little bit more in the design. I think just changing the design a little bit and making the screen a tiny bit bigger will make the screen feel bigger. And I do use my phone one-handed a lot. I don't want something I can't use one-handed.
Georgia?
A little bit bigger, I wouldn't mind. Again, they're not going to be able to make it much thinner, and I think that they're done with that. Thinner does not make better. I think that I would like to have it a little bit larger. I don't think it's a necessity for me, but I would appreciate it. It's the reason why I use my iPad exclusively for games in comparison to my iPhone, except for when I'm playing Draw Something, which I use on my phone. I'm kind of done, by the way, guys.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You play that on your phone? That's horrible.
Is that why you can write so small?
Yeah, because I'm doing
like,
on the iPad.
It's also because Seth has tiny hands.
Holy hell, you play it on your phone. I was like, Seth, Seth draws like some amazingly detailed art. What was the one that you did with all of the people in the wrapper?
Oh, that was hip hop for you. Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I should have taken photos. It was absolutely
I took a picture because I was proud of it.
Did you?
Yeah,
you should
post it in the forums.
Out your photo or show it now.
Oh,
it was amazing.
We're gonna start a best Draw Something thread in the forums, and we'll put all our pictures there.
Awesome. Right, I'm usually pretty good, but my art drawings are not like Seth's are like.
Can we agree though? I mean, as gentlemen and gentlewomen, that we do not want like the rumor that was going around before we put up our rumor, a 4.65 inch iPhone.
Yeah, that's too much. It's too much.
Or a Galaxy Note-sized iPad. No one needs a 5.5-inch iPad. Just silly.
Well, yeah, they're not going to be making that. Would be such a disservice to Steve Jobs if they made a little tiny iPad mini.
We're gonna get to that. Oh, do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, it just would. What would be up with having, you put down like a 7 or an 8-inch iPad? What would be happening with that? Why would they ever want to split that? Like the only competition they have is their selves.
So I'm just going to post the picture because John did we have a concept artist on that helps Mobile Nations, John Anastasiadis. I think I mispronounced his name, but it's written there. And he did a fantastic mock-up of a 7.85-inch iPad. And I put a post up, and I'm interested in your point of view. And here's my takeaway. First, the reason the iPad is 9.7 inches is because they made it for Steve Jobs, and he had a phenomenal record at picking really good products to release. I think the 7-inch tablet has a lot of challenges. App Advice did a great article saying a 7.85-inch tablet with a standard display would be the same resolution as the original iPhone. But I still think that's problematic. First, what does it mean with the iPod Touch? The iPod Touch is already the iPad mini, and Apple hasn't even bothered to update that in a year. Where does it fit in the product line? If it's $299, does that take away from iPad sales? If it's $199, why have an iPad Touch? Why have an iPod Touch? It's hard to see there. It's also counter-resolutionary. I'm proud of that word, Seth.
That's really cool.
pretty good.
That.
Yeah,
because it would be right now. All the iOS devices are Retina displays. Would Apple really walk backwards and have a non-Retina display device in the lineup again? Apple usually does not go backwards. And also, when we spoke about this on Iterate, the user experience. Now, the theory is that if you go down to 163 ppi, it would be the same as the iPhone. But the iPhone had a very different kind of app. They have one column view, and you page through it. iPad apps have multiple column views, and shrinking them down would not be the same experience as having 163 ppi iPhone apps. So putting all of that together, I think Apple could do it. I'm sure they have it in the labs, but I don't think they'll release it until they have a compelling way to sell it. Apple's not only an experience company, they're a go-to-market company. I don't see a clear go-to-market for this yet.
I agree completely.
That's no fun.
Absolutely. It just doesn't make any sense, and there's no reason that they would have to. It's not even like there's no reason for them to do it. It's not going to help them in any way, shape, or form. It's actually going to cost them a lot of money by increasing their manufacturing costs, trying to like split their suppliers.
Developers would maybe have to make a third, interface.
Well, someone that's going to buy a tablet is odds are going to buy an iPad. Then they have to choose between like a smaller and larger. There's no reason for them to do it. They're not going to do it.
I think that's right. It cannibalizes the regular iPad, right?
Yeah, it's going to cannibalize their own markets and cost them a lot of money.
So are you going to yell at Seth? I love that.
No, I just wanted to say if you have been, using your iPad, which is really what I should be doing, draw something on, the Retina display might make a difference. Seth put into the chat room his amazing drawing, by the way, of hip hop.
Now, see, the thing for me also, Seth, and tell me if I'm wrong here, people are saying Apple has to do this because of competition from the Playbook and the Kindle Fire. But globally speaking, there is none. I mean, in the Hasbro lawsuit, we just found out that pre-orders for the Asus Transformer Prime were like 2,000 units. Apple sold 3 million iPad 3s on opening weekend.
Yeah. I don't think they have to do anything at this point. People that are saying, "Oh, Apple has to develop a device at this size to maintain their lead or to kind of stave off competition," I really don't think they have to. I mean, for the same reason that they don't have phones at every size between 3.5 and 5 inches. They have one phone. They have one tablet. They may develop another device in between those two sizes, but it's not because they have to. It's because they've decided this is the right time. We figured out how to do this properly without breaking everything in between. And here's something else that we're going to offer. They're not a company that is, especially in the position they're in with the iPad, they're not concerned about these other tablets because they feel very strongly, as Steve Jobs said, tablets below the 10-inch size do not provide the kind of app experience that they were looking to provide with the iPad. And quite honestly, I've got the Kindle Fire. It's 7 inches. It's really good at some things, but I wouldn't want to use it the way that I use the iPad. It's just not quite enough. However, it's fantastic for other things. It's really great for video. It's really great for books. I prefer to read on it, especially at night, because it's not a big hulking thing that I have to hold up in bed. So
right. That is probably the only difference with having the iPad being larger. To be able to play games, it is nicer to have a larger screen, and it's much appreciated. If you're going to be dealing with things, and it's why it's probably cannibalizing some of the tablet sales, the laptop sales, is because it works out really well for many uses that the tablet does. The only thing is that when I'm lying in bed, it is heavy to have to hold it up, and I'm already tired, and that's why I have actually going to be reviewing some things.
Have you dropped it on your face? Tell the truth. Have you gotten tired and dropped it on your face?
I have once, actually. It slipped, but it wasn't.
I have too. Almost knocked myself out.
That's the only thing that it does because of its size, but I wouldn't want to hold up anything. I don't actually even like holding up my phone after a while. I'm so lazy.
Hashtag lazy.
That I have like a little, it's a very interesting contraption. It fits on the side of your bed and it holds your phone for you. So I'm actually even too lazy to hold my phone. So
that's
I definitely
lazy.
Don't
that's like Wally lazy.
That I am. So besides that, if I'm sitting up, I don't care. I don't want to hold anything. Anyways, I will stick whatever tablet it so may be on the table. I'm strong enough to hold it up. But besides that, bigger is better in this case, and it's a large enough size that it's not cumbersome, easy enough to carry around, exceptionally light, and it works out really well. But you're right, for the reading in bed, again, I wouldn't want to hold a Kindle Fire.
If I'm tired, I just use my iPhone in bed. I don't have, because it's so light. It's like holding nothing almost. And the Retina display is so good that I can do it's not as nice as a big expansive iPad screen, but if I'm really tired, I make that compromise. Like Georgia watching low res video, I make the smaller screen size compromise.
Well, that's what I do in the morning. I can't lift an iPad with my jiggly spaghetti morning arms. I've got to use the iPhone.
There's no iPad before coffee.
He's doing his curls with it. He's doing his curls with it.
That's how I start my day.
So there's also some issues that people have been having with the iPad, some things that they were upset about it. In Australia, some owners were upset with the false 4G LTE advertising and have been offered a refund.
You know what makes me think? All I can do in my head is picture Crocodile Dundee going, "Oi, that's not 4G. This is 4G." Is that horrible?
No,
Yeah,
I think that's kind of funny,
pretty
actually.
Yeah. So basically, you want me to explain I think Simon Sage called it douchebaggery that was involved with all this.
Sure.
So basically, AT&T decided it was easier to write 4G on the box than to build an actual 4G network. So while Verizon was deploying LTE, T-Mobile first, I think, I shouldn't accuse AT&T, I think it was T-Mobile first, decided to call HSPA Plus 4G. Apple initially with the iPhone 4S said they weren't going to get into the debate. They left it as 3G. But with iOS 5.1, they flipped a switch, and now suddenly AT&T is called 4G. And all the iPad boxes say 4G on them, even in countries where Apple does not support LTE, because there's like 38 different LTE segments, and Apple only supports LTE in Canada and the US. So even if you have an LTE iPad in Europe, Asia, or Australia, it does not work on their LTE networks. So Australia, Sweden, and maybe the UK have accused Apple of confusing and or false advertising by leaving the 4G on the boxes outside North America.
I think if they're going to return it, they're going to be all sad that they don't have their iPad. Pick up one.
Yeah, so Apple is taking a return. The Apple will accept returns on them if you feel like you have been shenaniganed, if you feel like you've been bamboozled or taken advantage of.
But they accept returns anyways, didn't they?
I guess it depends on the jurisdiction, how long the return is, and whether you have to pay a restocking fee or not, depending on the reason for the return, if it's not defective. So this is just like a blanket, we're sorry, shucks, so we'll take it back. Well, good on you, mate. We'll take it back. I should stop that now before Mark Edwards sends me an angry tweet, shouldn't I?
I was just going to say, Mark Edwards is somewhere. He just shook his head, not knowing why. He was very upset.
Why is Rene speaking with a British accent?
A disturbance.
A disturbance in the force. A nice Chinese accent master in the chat room is saying. You were so funny.
Oh, all right. Let's not go down this road.
This does not end well for anybody.
And I thought they were going to flame me for saying, don't buy the iPad. Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, I'll take
now.
the heat.
I'm safe. We also had some charging issues, overheating, overcharging.
Overblown, overhyped.
Well, no matter what, they are going to complain about everything that happens to be with the iPad. So the Apple Vice President of iPad Marketing, I'm going to say his name, but I'll say it so poorly. Michael Tichow?
Michael Chow.
Chow. Sorry, the T's silent. Okay, whatever.
Well, it's non-expirated. How's that?
Well, okay, before I expire. Go ahead. Explain, Rene. How does charging work?
So this was confusing because I believe it was DisplayMate. They ran some tests and they found out that if you charge your iPad, it takes about 7 hours. But it will keep charging at a lower voltage. I believe was it a lower voltage or what? I forget. But it will, at a lower rate, it'll keep charging for another 2 hours. So they surmised that Apple was, not being truthful about the battery meter and saying it was 100% before it was really 100%, and that it took an extra 2 hours to get to 100%. So the headlines, they exploded. And what it turns out is that this is a feature of iOS. What happens is Apple is careful with lithium-ion batteries. So when it gets to 100% charge, it starts to decharge and recharge a little bit at a time for 2 hours. It's part of Apple's charging cycle, and it reports it at 100% during that cycle because it would look weird if it went 198, 198, 198. So they just leave it at 100, and if you remove it at any point during that cycle, there's no real statistical difference in how much battery life you'll get. So along with WarmGate, which was disproven last week, BatteryGate has now been disproven as well.
Has it actually been disproven or just not proven?
Well, Apple's provided an explanation about how their technology works, and people who have looked at it have said, yes, this makes sense because the charge actually has gone to a lower level. I'm just wondering what's next. I mean, are they going to say Seth Clifford is rosy and pink because of the Retina display? Are they going to have rosy pink gate? Are they going to say Georgia's throat hurts because she's been using dictation so much? Will there be talk gate? I mean, what is next with these headlines?
Well, I think that it's a fair thing to take a look into the way that the iPhone works and the iPad works, and in the end, it is really the only tablet, and people care. Apple makes news, so But we ended up deciding to go out and find out about battery life on the iPad, so we went to our own dear readers to see how is your new iPad's battery life.
What did our dear readers say?
Seth, how do you find yours, by the way?
It's probably a little less than the old iPad that I had, but at the same time, I'm definitely using this a lot more and in a lot more places. And between the screen and the LTE, I fully expect that it's not gonna last as long. That said, it easily lasts days at a time. I mean, like 3-4 days before I have to charge it. I've been charging it at night just so I know if I do end up using it more the next day, it's totally covered. But I mean, I used it a lot today, and it's at like 90%.
I use it for tethering, and I used it for tethering for 5 hours today, and it went down like 3 or 4%. It was just ridiculous, and maybe 10%, but it was just ridiculously long.
Well, our readers said that 20% said excellent, better than the specs that Apple put out. 42% said great, on par with Apple's specs. Good, 21%. Not exactly what Apple promised, but close. 6% said poor, nowhere near what Apple promised. And then 10% said terrible. It's draining before my eyes. And if it was, maybe, again, I would say you might want to if it's draining before your eyes, I don't know what you're doing with your iPad, but you might actually want to
back away from your iPad.
That's scary.
Do not taunt your iPad.
Yeah.
You may want to return that. If I can go on to now what I really want to talk about, Rene.
What is that?
Rene, many teen boys one-time dream Shannon Tweed. You got to talk about and talk to about Attack of the Groupies, her new tower fence to fame.
You want to see it?
Game for the iPhone and iPad, and she's absolutely stunning. Holy Lord, she is beautiful.
You want to see it?
Yeah, I'm dying. Yes, please.
Let's do it.
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Having a fun day.
You need absolutely no introduction, but I'm going to give you a brief one anyway. You are a star of television and screen. You are showcased weekly on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. You're doing almost everything possible, and you decided to add one more thing to your repertoire.
Well, I did, yeah. I do almost everything. And I don't do that many things well. But I'm hoping this is one of them. I decided to do a video game iPhone app and iPad app.
Now, what made you decide to do that? Was it just one more realm to conquer?
It's interesting because the last year has been, a difficult one, especially if you've been watching our show, you know what I'm talking about. But when I was approached by George Donovan at Goji Games, we were in New Brunswick, and we were at an event where Gene was doing a personal appearance talk. And George came up to me and asked me, had I ever considered doing a game? And I really hadn't ever thought about it, although I did play some games, sort of time wasters on my phone when I would, be waiting for someone or, I didn't have anything else to do. And I enjoyed them, I just didn't ever think about me as a game. And I said, well, what would it be? Me, killing groupies or something like that? And he said, no, it's not a bad idea.
It's brilliant when you think about it. I mean,
it kind of matured from there because, we took everything from real life and some of the looks of the groupies and the relentlessness of them is kind of true.
And you chose perhaps the greatest format imaginable for this, a tower defense game, which is that sort of relentless survival, almost horror survival genre.
But the feeling of it is so real because, it really had people at my gate at the house. We've had women naked knocking on the hotel room door when I'm there. So you can only imagine what happens when I'm not there.
And that's in the game, right?
If you're standing right beside your husband, they will just walk over you.
So how involved were you in choosing the elements that went into the game? Is it mostly based on real life, or did you want to make them more outlandish, more comic book?
I would say it's pretty reality based.
Now, you are in full-fledged superhero attire right at the beginning of the game.
My costume's a little exaggerated.
But is that the feeling you wanted to get, that you were finally able to, maybe in video game form, take the fight back to
Yeah.
the groupies?
Yeah, of course, because I mean, you can't go around smacking people in the face. Although I really would like to. I mean, the goal was not to have anything other than a PG game that looked funny or fun. That's why we have the Stinkinator and things like that, where you can, you make them smell so bad they go running to the washroom, and while they're mowing down the barricades, you're making their hair frizz out so they look horrible and they run away. But it's funny, but at the same time, I'm really getting out my aggressions in some way, because you really can't go around whacking people.
No, not in these jurisdictions, at least. But it's cathartic. So you get the catharsis from this, and everyone else gets a really fun game. People who enjoy your show, enjoy your career, enjoy Jane's career, they can sort of play along with you.
That's right, and I'm hoping they will. And last night my nephews were trying the demonstration version of it before it came out on iTunes, and got to level like 21 in 20 minutes, and they were laughing their heads off because I just slammed it right in the face. And it was really funny. And it was nice to see that my test audience was having a good time.
And as long as the actual fans get something that they enjoy, right? That's the fun part of this.
Yeah, that's the goal, really.
Now, do you think there might be other video games coming in the future? Could there be a sequel in the works?
Well, I think if it goes well and it's fun, maybe I'll do the adult version.
That would be spectacular. All right, well, Shannon, I want to thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and thank you for making a game. Thank you for supporting the iPhone and iPad platform.
That's fun. Thank you.
And that was Shannon. Here we go.
Oh, she's stunning. That was great.
Amazing. Simply amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. Next, I want the Hasselhoff. That's gonna be my next goal.
I love it. We should all tweet out to Hasselhoff.
Make an iOS game so I can interview you.
Yeah, something.
I was Knight Rider. I was Mitch Buchanan.
I love Knight Rider. Mitch Buchanan, yeah. But Knight Rider, awesome.
I am the Knight Industries 2000. Although Seth
Rene,
looks more like a car guy to me.
I don't know. I was just thinking, 14-year-old me thinks that you're his new hero. I just wanted to share that.
Nice.
There we go.
All right.
Well, though the car couldn't make it there, Angry Birds have made it straight into orbit. Angry Birds Space, the review. Haha. Well, anyone playing it?
I've tried it. I haven't had time to really play it as much as I like, but it's actually a really good sequel. I mean, it's almost like when they did Super Mario Galaxy, they took the familiar elements, but the effects of gravity and the different dimensions give it like a lot of new gameplay. And Simon took a look at it. He seemed to like it. He said that it was a welcome change of pace, a whole new set of challenges. And I applaud Rovio for... Because, the last few Angry Birds seasons, Angry Birds Rio, was kind of more of the same and more and more and more and more and more and more of the same. And this is a break of pace. It's nice.
If you like Angry Birds, this would be the game to deal with it. Plus, it has bubbles. So if you like Cut the Rope, there's bubbles.
Never have
no
bubbles.
nom, but bubbles.
And he also took a look at the game that you and Seth were talking about earlier.
Yes, my apologies. I can't stop talking about it.
Draw something.
Here we go. Draw something. Draw something.
And he called it the best way to show off. But I've been playing that too. I don't have time to play it a lot. So I've only tried it with a couple people.
Yeah, we only got to what level, Rene?
Oh, Georgia and I broke the game. We got past level 99, and it started giving me pictures without the letters to actually write. Like Georgia was drawing marriage, and I had no eyes.
They were going to make us stop, right, Rene?
Yeah, well, I think Georgia capitulated. She gave up in the end. I haven't received a reply to my last awesome illustration, so I'm considering it winning. Yep.
You consider that winning?
Yes, you capitulated.
That's not right.
You folded down your king. You walked away from the chessboard like Magneto at the end of X-Men.
No, for sure. Well, the nice thing about the game is that it's a lot of fun. You work actually in conjunction with each other. Here's me doing, that's drunk. That's my picture to drunk. There, I don't know if anyone can see it. And it was a lot of fun. And again, because of that, I'll talk about it with the things I've started to, Use a
Tell me.
stylus. All
Oh,
because of
what?
that.
Why? What?
Because, well, I've noticed that Seth could really draw well. And drawing well and being able to... Now, again, I'm doing this on my iPhone. Here's Renee's drawing. You can see Renee drawing in real time.
What's that? Hold on. You're not centered. You're not centered. There you go.
And so that's what you do. You end up drawing the game. That's really... Oh, that's a cute drawing, Renee.
That's what I sent you that one.
Lord. Did you do that?
Yeah, I sent it to you. That was for Wonder.
That was for Wonder?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that. That's amazing.
Well, we played like 150 games.
Jeez. Yeah. As they say, to dream.
Wow, it's good. I like that.
That was good.
Can we see old drawings? I didn't know we could.
And you end up going back and forth and sending games out. There are some bugs that are with it. One is you can't get past level 99, which is a little bit annoying.
They are fixing that, though, in their defense. The new version is going to fix that.
Yes, and plus some of the words, after a while, they keep on becoming the same. So, someone else says that you sent it to someone else, not... you sent that to Master, not to me.
The Wonder Woman? Oh, maybe.
There we go. So it's been a lot of fun, but because of that, I end up trying out many different styluses. My favorite so far is the H10. Can I talk about them now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. So my favorite so far has been the H10 for its sensitivity. And I didn't know, I know this is lame, but it actually opens up. My favorite part about it is that it has a cap that attaches to my phone.
Well, you have small hands. You don't need to expand it, quite frankly.
No. So I really enjoyed this stylus. I think it's a really nice one. And right now I'm going to be looking at the Targus 3-in-1. So it has pen, little touchpad, the little rubber things, and then of course also...
Ow!
Yeah, pointer. So that's going to be really cool. So laser light.
And now Seth looks redder than ever. Great going, Georgia.
I have a bamboo. I've been using it, but I don't like how the point is so squishy. I really want a hard point.
Can they do hard point capacitive? I haven't seen one.
Well, what about those Bluetooth ones you keep telling me about?
Could, no?
Well, they have the ones with the little plastic caps on the tip. Those might be a good alternative.
Yeah, like that weird one that has a little disc.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Leanna thought she'd hate it, but when she tried it, she liked it.
I don't know about that.
Georgia's gonna do a stylus shootout, so we're gonna find out what is the best of the best of the best of the best.
That's good. I need to know because I keep looking at the Cosmonaut. Like I wanna buy that one. You know, the Studio Neat guys did that one, and it looks great, but I can't tell if the point is firmer, or if it's like bubbly, like the bamboo. And the bamboo is good, but when I start doing stuff, like I notice that the point squashes, and then I let up on it a little bit, and it's not making the contact, so I'm getting like gaps in my writing.
So wait a minute, how are you taking notes right now? Are you using handwriting notes or are you typing notes?
I'm doing a combination depending on what I'm doing. Like if I need to get a lot in quickly, I'm typing, and if I'm annotating a picture, or if it's just like kind of high level topic things that I just need to remember, I use Note Shelf with a stylus.
So for example, we had a phone conversation today where I detailed my plan for world domination. Did you take notes with the handwriting application or with the keyboard?
No, I typed that into plain text.
Oh, so there's documents of this, damn it. I feel like Pinky in the brain now, just so disappointed.
The nice thing that I noticed with my stylus is actually the fact that when I was playing games, my hand, because I'm using my finger, and I have tiny hands, but still, again, on my phone especially, my hands will cover up part of the screen so I can't see it, which I find annoying. And the nice part about the stylus, especially one that comes out like this, is that it ends up allowing me to see more of the screen while I do it, and it reaches slightly further.
Nice.
So I've kind of noticed it's kind of another reason why I went down to the stylus. But you're right, Seth. The squishiness of the tip does not allow for it to be exceptionally perceptive and to have a fine detail of where you're going to be pressing down in comparison to where it is, because it's kind of rounded at the top. So we'll be taking a peek at it.
I really want a stylus like the Wacom styluses that have a hard tip that has a little clicky point. Like, just somebody figure out how to do that with a capacitive screen. I will pay a lot of money for it.
You know, if Phil Nicholson had any sense about him, he would jump in right now and Samsung you with a Note.
Yeah, I get it. I do. and that's great. And I'm glad that I can make circles on Google Maps, and that's about it.
Well, I think the Bluetooth 4.0 ones, I mean, they're going to use a lot of the technology to first stop, to reject wrist. And, you put your wrist down and it makes a mark. But they're also going to be
Yeah.
doing pressure sensitivity. So I'm hoping they are more like Wacom stylus is.
Yeah, speaking of the wrist protection that some apps offer, I've been really getting into gestures on my iPad, and
Yes.
Oh,
you
nice.
you you can't enable the gestures if you want to use the wrist protection in most of these apps. So you
Yes.
have to turn it off, and I'm like, well, then I'm not going to use wrist protection because I want to be able to, navigate with all of these gestures now, and it's a tough thing to decide.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I
Hmm.
love them gestures. I'm a
Yeah.
gesture maniac.
Yeah, again, too much work for me.
Gesture is not a lot of work. It's a swipe. It's a swipe
I
between
know.
friends.
I know.
Ouch.
Leanna has been doing some amazing job dealing with photography, and so she has out how to use iPhoto to darken and add drama to your iPhone photography. It's a really great article.
Yeah, she's killing it with the iPhoneography posts. And this time she showed how to use iPhoto on the iPad. She's kind of bringing all the devices together. And it's just like, a way of making your photos. If you don't, it's always great to capture the perfect photo right in the lens. But, this is real life and you don't always do that. So if you can take an okay photo and make it fantastic and not have to go out and shoot it over again, or maybe it's like a picture of the kids or the pet or something you can never capture again. It's great that we can do all this right on our iPad now.
So, I still haven't purchased iPhoto. Do I need to get it? Is it worth having?
You need to get it so we can talk about it on Iterate because the UI is very divisive.
All right, I'll get it. Just for that alone.
Yeah, there's a button to push to tell you how to use it, which is not normal in an Apple app.
I will get it for research purposes, if nothing else.
Excellent. I can tell George hasn't used it yet by the look of disgust in her face as we talk about it.
No, I just haven't happened to. I will, because I like to use photography. I just haven't had much time to do anything.
I'd be interested in your take to see if you like it because you have a very low tolerance for bad interface. Like if something's not intuitive for you to use almost immediately, you get very angry, and which is a good barometer for these things.
And that doesn't take much, really.
No, but I mean that's why. I mean that's the kind of user interface you want. Is something that's incredibly accessible.
Exactly that. So we spoke a lot about people that read, and I think that it was Jim that mentioned that reading on the iPad made a huge difference with the Retina graphics. And Leanna posted a topic on Instapaper for the iPhone and the iPad. And I'd like to know, Rene, do you have Instapaper on the iPad?
I think Seth and I are going to have a nerd fight over Instapaper any second now because we're
No,
both big
it's-
Instapaper users.
It's not gonna be a nerd fight. It's gonna be a nerd love-in.
I mean, there's a lot of good so basically, if you're not familiar with it, if anyone has a PVR like a cable box recorder, lets you record your TV shows to watch later. That's what Instapaper and read later like stuff is. You see something on the web, you don't have a chance to read it now. You press one button and it saves it for you to read later. And Apple has gone and built this into the browser, so you have both reading list and reader in Safari that you can use. But they're like most Apple things, they're really bare bones. And Marco Arment created Instapaper prior to that, and he's really made it feature rich. So now there's competitors like Read It Later, and there's a new readability that came out. But the thing I like about Marco is that he really thinks very, very carefully about user interface. He wants to create a really good experience. And this new version, I mean, not only does he have daytime and nighttime modes, he has a twilight mode for when it's slightly dark in between. He's got a lot of great fonts in this version. I mean, I'm a very simple Instapaper user, Seth. I don't know about you. I basically really just use it to save and read later. But it was a good app that's become even better for me.
Yeah, I use it in a very similar way to the way that you do it. I don't use most of the features. I just like it because it is a very clean and simple app at its core, and that's how it started out. And I recall a time very early on when he said, "I'm not gonna put a bunch of stuff in Instapaper because this is that's not what it's about." And over time, he's kind of not gone back on that, but he's realized that he can do things to enhance it that are very subtle and they
like you
add
can
value.
you can tilt the iPad, Georgia, and it
Right.
will scroll the text for you.
That's cool.
That's lazy reading. I love it.
I love scrolling.
The nice thing about it for me is that I I look through Twitter during the day. I see things that interest me. I don't have time to stop and read an article in the middle of the day. I save it, and then I can go back to it whenever I want. And that's the product at its core. But the nice thing is that when you download the articles onto your iPad or your iPhone, they're saved there. So then if you're hopping on a plane, you can open up Instapaper, grab all your stuff, turn your airplane mode on, and have all your stuff locally saved on your device that you can read. And that's the big thing for me. Like, a reading list needs a network connection, right?
I believe so. I don't believe it stores locally.
Yeah, I don't think it caches. I could be wrong, but I don't think it does. And I saw somebody mention this a while back on Twitter, and it really rings true for me too. I've been using Instapaper for a really long time. I've been listening to Marco's show for a really long time. We met him, I met him for the first time at Singleton this year. He's such a nice guy, and he is so careful and so measured in his approach to his work, and I really respect, the stuff that he does. The comment that was made on Twitter was, I have a hard time separating him from his product. And so even though other things may come along, there's a part of me that really just loves Instapaper because he's a great guy, and I like him and I want to support him.
I like that. That's really nice.
And again, if you use a video recorder to time shift your TV, and you don't have time to read the stuff you want to read on the internet, try out one of the Read Later apps. You might enjoy it.
Is it much better though, comparing the iPad 2 on Instapaper, reading out of the app?
Yes.
Like, do you notice the same thing? Yes.
Well, but
Is
I'm
that
a
the
font.
same thing
I
for
worked
you?
as a typographer. I worked in book design, and I worked in typesetting for a long time, so I'm very cognizant of fonts. And just because you don't see the little dots anymore, it's like going from reading a newspaper to reading a glossy magazine. It just looks so good.
It's amazing. It's so good.
Amazing. Wow. Okay.
It really is. The increase in the resolution has made reading so much more pleasurable on that device.
Right.
Georgia, may I ask if you have any accessories to show us this week?
Sure. Well, I already showed off the styluses that we will be taking a look at, because I'm now all into styluses. And we'll discuss weight, the way that they use, if they make actually working with your iPhone, iPad better or not. So that's what we're going to be heading into. Plus, I have this new case that I am reviewing right now by Casemate.
Oh, shiny.
Sparkly.
Splendid for
I know
life.
Seth wants 2 after this.
I do. You got my number.
Hey, would you ever get a sparkly case, by the way, Rene?
I know, I'm kind of low.
Black sparkles, maybe? No?
I'm kind of low key. I like the matte. The only thing I have on now is that edging from Macworld.
Oh, show off the edging that you have, because on your phone, now I showed off the gold was the one that I used, but you put it on to there, and a lot of people have come up to you, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, they were giving these out at Macworld. I don't think they're for sale yet. They're by Crimson Case, and they should be for sale soon. They were still packaging them, but I quite like it. I mean, they were very popular there because it's not bulky, and it just gives your iPhone a little different of a look.
Right. I have some amazing cases that I'm going to be reviewing really soon. I'm so very stoked. One case actually that I'm going to be reviewing that they're sending right now is a case that was made by, it's a steampunk case that was made by a special effects designer that worked on Harry Potter and a whole bunch of other really
Wild
amazing
West, I'm
films.
guessing.
So
Giant mechanical spider.
it's something really sweet, something kind of cool, a little steampunky. So
You're
I'm
also
gonna take a
getting
look.
the pad and quill stuff, right?
Yes, we're getting the pad and quill stuff.
And
I have
Element, I think, sent you stuff too.
Element sent me a beautiful case as well that we'll all be taking a look at.
Nice.
So we'll have some really neat cases for what you may want. And yeah, if there's a case that you really, really absolutely would love for us to take a look at, send us a line and let us know so we can take a
I have
look
one
at
more
that.
accessory to show off. It's not really an accessory. It's more of a companion.
Please.
It's Ollie.
Oh, he's so cute.
Seth,
He's
I got an Ollie.
So
Did you?
cute. He's very cute. Is he squishy?
No, he is. He's plastic. He's a solid little Twitter bird. He's from Twitterific. He's the what is the right word? The mascot for Twitterific.
Yeah, I think
From the
mascot.
Awesome people at Icon Factory. And I shall be using him in all of our Twitterific reviews from now on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Oh, there's something else that I'm gonna actually show. I'm just gonna have it brought down to me. Um, and that is the Super Tooth Disco. I'm all about speakers,
Super
so
Tooth Disco. Is that a
um,
gem thing? Are you truly outrageous?
I wish. I love Gem. Gem was awesome. I actually was watching some retro TV and I was like, oh, Gem is on. I tried to take some photos, but just by the time that the clip was done, I didn't get any photos. I was going to tweet out Gem.
Nice.
You
I'll have to
know,
insert her in the podcast now.
I was desperately trying to think of a Synergy / WebOS joke, but I just couldn't come up with one.
Oh, too bad. Kessler would have given you money.
I know.
Here we go. Now, you want to talk about Jawbone?
Do I?
I give
okay.
you...
Ooh,
Da-da-da-da.
shiny.
Yeah, okay, so
I
here we
am
go.
not left-handed.
This baby...
So what is that? Is that a
yeah.
wire? Is that a Bluetooth speaker system?
It is a Bluetooth speaker system. Yeah.
Wow, that thing's big. Sam Clinton wants to know if that's a monolith from 2001.
Got it on. Oh well. Wait, let's try this again. I have to have it all linked up and stuff.
Is there an error between the phone and the speaker?
Yes. It's just about as amazing. I'll pair it up later. But here we go. It's like monolith of all.
Yeah, it looks nice. Are you going to put that head to head with the Jambox?
Yeah, we're going to take it head to head. We're going to see the difference between the two, how they really work. It's pretty phenomenal. And you can, yes, it works fully as a Bluetooth, so you can answer the phone, deal with it on it. Are we going to be trying to stick it into our car? Probably the Jeep.
Nice.
It's going to be into the Jeep. It's going to be pretty amazing. I'm really...
wait a minute. So the 19...
Oh,
the 1970 CJ10 is getting a
really nice sound. Okay,
nice.
So that we don't get don't end up getting podcast.
The 1970s Jeep CJ whatever is going to be getting a 2012 era speaker. That's amazing.
That it will.
Nice.
That it will. So it has really beautiful, beautiful sound, and we're going to be testing that out with the Super Tooth Buddy as well.
Awesome. All right, done.
There we go. That's what the iPad should have had.
But slightly bigger, but it would have been worth it.
I'm going to duct tape it on top of the iPad out of protest.
Nice.
Just shove it right in the dock connector.
You shove it in your dock connector, sir.
Oh. Them's fighting words.
I wish we could use that as a show title. Maybe we will.
Shove it in your dock connector.
Well, I think that we have come to a close for another show. In all their stocky goodness, Seth, how do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Seth Clifford. You can find me here on the iMore Show and on Iterate with Rene and Mark Edwards of Bajango. And if you want to see the work we do, the apps and sites that we build, please visit our website at nfidm.com. We're Nickelfish.
Damn it. And Rene, how does everyone find you?
You can find me.
Where aren't you? He's like everywhere. You
can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can find me here on iPhone and iPad Live. You can find me on the Mobile Nations Network. And you can find me with Georgia on Zen and Tech.
Which will be next week. So be there, be square. And you can find me on Twitter at GeorgiaTIPB. Yes, I am still all retro goodness. And you can also find me on the show, www.imore.com.
Sweet.
You can reach all of us on Twitter at iMore. You can also email us at podcast@imore.com. Leave a comment. Well, leave a comment. We're here every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. www.imore.com/live. I don't know why that was so
Don't lose it, Georgia. You're almost at the end. You can do it. Just a few more minutes.
For all our podcasts, audio and video, including iPhone Live, iPad Live, iPhone and iPad Live, Zen and Tech, Iterate, and much more, see mobilenations.com/shows. If you haven't already, please subscribe in iTunes and leave a rating. You should. If you have not already, shame on you.
If you have, go leave another one. Why are you only leaving one rating? This is easily a 2 or 3 rating show.
It should be like whoever gives the most rating gets a prize. That'd be hilarious.
We'll figure that
75 ratings. I've been banned. Thanks to the iMore Accessory Store for sponsoring the podcast. And to everyone that shows up live, you mean the world to us and make it so much more fun to do these shows. That's it.
Let's go knock on the sky, dudes.
So, yes, till next week.
Yeah, Georgia, I can't wait to hear about the styli.
The styli. It's going to be like the styli showdown.
I want to know all about them.
Yeah, we're going to be grabbing as many styluses as we can and taking a look and testing out the differences. There's definitely some huge differences. Like someone actually at a Apple store I know Zen and Tech tonight. Someone at an Apple store was actually talking to us about like a $2 stylus from the dollar store, and that was amazing. No, not so much, but we'll be testing out all ones.
Can I say, for the record, that Georgia wields a stylus like a grammaton cleric? Like you're talking to her 1 minute and then suddenly you're cut in half and called a sense offender. It's not even like a Jedi where they leave your arm lying on the ground, the rest of you still fine. It's like right in half.
She's vicious.
Yeah.
And that it is.
All right.
Some are much more fun than others. We'll take a look.
Have a good night. We have to put Georgia down before she takes the rest of us out with her.
Yeah, it's just getting worse from